Hi FPL managers, welcome back to the channel. It's the Redman FPL. My name is Ola. Guys, Game Week 13 had a lot of talking points. I'm gonna touch on the few bits that really do matter to us FPL managers, and then I'm gonna show you lots of my Game Week 14 teams. I've done a transfer already. I've made my transfers ahead of the game week because it's quite a short gap between Game Week 13 and 14. I'm recording on Monday and the deadline is Tuesday, I think 6 p.m. So guys, we've got barely over 32 to 48 hours to make our team ready for game week 14. So guys, game week 13, so many talking points. I would say I indeed dodged a bullet by not going double Crystal Palace. I will show you my team, and I indeed made a decision to whether take out Saliba or take out Virgil van Dijk. I transferred out Saliba from my team and I brought a Man City defender, Matheus Nunes. Happy I kept Virgil van Dijk. He delivered a clean sheet, and just before the start of the game week, I think we got news that Saliba was injured, so that is a W for me and my team. And then guys, Salah was not involved in the matchup, and I had lost Dewsbury's whole points in game week in match day 1 on Saturday, so I was really gutted about having Dewsbury Hall 7 points on the bench. And then it turned out that Salah wasn't going to play, and that really worked out well because I indeed got Dewsbury's Hall's points return. So guys, for the rest of the video, you want to keep it locked to the end. I'm going to be showing you lot my rank history. I will show you my game week 14 transfer plan, which is already done, and we'll look at game week 13, the injured players. What player can you replace them with? So I'm going to be looking at Semenyo, Ismaila Sarr. Semenyo is not necessarily injured, but these are questions I've been getting on my live stream on TikTok and on the channel comments. People are like, who do I replace Ismaila Sarr with? I want to get rid of Semenyo in my team. I don't like him anymore. So we will look at these guys who you can replace them with. I'll also talk about a cheap plan, my final team selection, and of course captaincy for game week 14. Keep it locked to the channel and watch the video to the very end. Make sure you give us a like. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. This is the place you want to be for all your FPL tips, guys. Keep it locked. Hi managers, thank you for keeping it locked to this point in the video. So guys, before I move further into the video and talk you through my rank and game week history, my game week 14 transfer plans, chip plan for those of you that might want to activate a chip in game week 13, and of course final team selection and my captaincy for game week 14. So you will want to keep it locked to the video till the very end. I'm just going to talk you through my game week 13 the team points review, and we'll look at how differently things could have gone or could have been and what exactly went wrong. So for me and my team, it's 51 points on the bounce, guys. I would say I dodged the bullet by avoiding playing the double Crystal Palace defense. I was quite convinced I could play that, I could take that risk against Man United. But guys, I'm glad I didn't do it because Man United ended up winning that game 2-1. So no clean sheet for the Palace defense. And if you keep in tabs with my videos on YouTube, you'll remember I had a debate, my transfer for the game week. Should I get rid of Saliba or get rid of Virgil van Dijk? I ended up getting rid of the Arsenal man, and it turned out that was the right decision to make because Saliba didn't play. He was ruled out injured for the game this weekend. So guys, Virgil van Dijk indeed stayed in the team and came back with a clean sheet report. So guys, I'm quite pleased with that move that I made. Talking about the transfer plans, the only other talking point definitely has to be Haaland blank as a triple captain. We had 1.1 million over FPL managers captain this fella or triple captain this fella for the game week, and everyone was disappointed. So guys, this is why I say you should consider playing the free hit without an Erling Haaland in it. So if you have been watching my videos, you probably saw the free hit where I made the draft without Erling Haaland in it, and I explained that if you are struggling to capitalize and just go leap over that guy that's ahead of you in your mini league, this was a game week you should play a strategy like this. You know, have other players that have got good game week fixture, a player like Watkins, Rogers, some of these Man City guys, mix and match them. Have a completely different captain. The Brentford guys, ThiaGO would have been an absolutely perfect captain for the game week. A lot of people still went on to captain ThiaGO. So imagine you had him on a triple captain. I had him on a triple captain. That would have been a hell of a return as a triple captain. That would have been 39 points, I think. But well, we don't cry over spilled milk. So guys, on the bench, I had earlier lost out on Dewsbury Hall, 7 points for the third game week in a row. This fella's returning points, so I felt I had lost out on his points, and Salah was gonna be playing. So guys, when Salah wasn't on the pitch, as at the 78 minutes, I was on my knees praying that Arne Slot doesn't consider forcing Mo Salah back into the team. So well guys, it turned out he didn't even play a single minute of that game, and I ended up getting the auto sub. Talking about Dewsbury Hall, you can see the auto sub, Mo Salah, or rather do I go the other way, Mo Salah coming in for Dewsbury Hall. So well, got the 7-pointer, pushed us to 51 points. We managed the green arrow. So guys, we'll quickly take a look at is there anything I want to touch on again? Salah not involved was a blessing. I've talked about my no Haaland draft, which a lot of managers should have considered, you know, especially if you want to like dominate in your mini league. So guys, let me quickly show you my game week history. So he's been 4 straight green arrows. I think I'm trying to recover back my season. You can see my overall rank 5.6 million. I think we are climbing. Guys, you just need a 1 game week green arrow, decent green arrow, and you're jumping over 800 places. The team value is 100.2 million. I'm happy about that. So well, 4 straight game weeks of green arrows. I believe if I keep this going until game week 19, I should be closer to top 500k, and then I can look forward to bossing the rest of the season. So well, that's it about the game week history. Overall rank, we've talked about it. So I'm just gonna take you now back to my team ahead of game week 14, and then yeah, I've talked about the rank, game week history, game week 14. Now we'll talk about my transfer plans, which is already done. As you can see, I've introduced a different player to the team. Ismaila Sarr is no longer there because he was red flagged. He rolled his ankle. I know it might not be a very serious injury, you know, he could be back, but I don't think they will want to force him to play this midweek game. I think Ismaila Sarr would just be protected to play the following weekend game and just before he leaves for AFCON. So guys, with the fact that we get 5 or 6 transfers by game week 16, I'm really not forced to start rolling or saving transfers. So I straight away hit that button of taking out Ismaila Sarr. I brought in the Declan Rice. So the team now ahead of game week 14 is Henderson in goal. I'm fancying that double Crystal Palace defense. Matheus Nunes of Man City playing Fulham away. Virgil van Dijk playing Sunderland at home. I do wish I had a double Liverpool, but Sunderland are no pushover, so I wouldn't take that risk. And then there is Doku playing Fulham. I'm pretty pleased with this guy's minutes so far. It's just he needs to get me the points return. So I'm happy since I brought him in game week 11 on the wild card. 75 minutes back to back and a 90 minutes. So pleased with that, especially around this time in the season where there's so much rotation risk. I'm happy he's just getting the minutes in, so it shows I got something right. I'm still leaving Salah in the team, could easily take him out, but I think the fact Liverpool didn't force him to play this weekend means he's probably going to be heavily involved in the midweek game against Sunderland. I do like when Liverpool becomes a little bit predictable like this. I hope he indeed is involved in the game. He does start and everything. And Slot mentioned that that's the reason he's having Salah get introduced next game week, that because we have 4 games in a week or something like that. So he's trying to like save players, manage their minutes, which we hope makes sense. So guys, if you observe, I've sent my Villa players to the bench. I feel it's a game that would favor the Brighton players more. So Konza, Buendia sitting on the bench, Van Hecke, Dubravka. So well, that's it for my final team selection ahead of game week 14. I've showed you my, as well as my the game week history. You've seen the rank. So guys, we're now going to touch on those players that are a headache for you managers. Another thing I would say is ThiaGO could easily, I don't know, there's news he left the match in clutches, so I'm not really sure what to do with him. I'm waiting for news. If there's anything that, you know, would mean he doesn't get involved in for the game week, I would just kick him to the bench and probably involve a Buendia. And also this fella is also subject to change. I'm not sure about how many minutes he's gonna play for the game week. He disappointed again this weekend, playing 53 minutes after playing 45 earlier on my wild card. So I think he might just be done and should be getting ready to pick his bags and leave my team. So, well, that being said about my game week 14 team plans, I've got the captaincy on Mohamed Salah. It looks a bit risky. It could be subject to change, but for now, I'm happy to stick that armband with Mohamed Salah. And yeah, guys, so it's a 3-5-2 formation at the moment. I'm saving that. I pretty much like to start this group of players. But if there is no news about ThiaGO being injured, then he comes back into the starting lineup. So, guys, that's it about my plan for game week 14. Pretty straightforward game week. We've got less than 24 hours. You shouldn't confuse yourself by thinking too much. I say keep your thinking thoughts, your thinking process very light and easy. So I've got 0.3 million left in the bank. I made a transfer this morning, Monday morning, to bring in Declan Rice for the injured Ismaila Sarr. So any further changes to be done, I will wait for news on ThiaGO. I will look at Buendia, how many minutes do I think he's gonna play, pick him out of my team. So guys, the major headache so far for managers has been a lot of people are not happy with SARR. They want to replace him. But I think if you have got other better players in the team, keep Ismaila Sarr in your team. Don't worry about him playing this weekend. Probably bench him, have him play the following game week, because Palace don't have the worst run of games. The next two games this week, midweek, Burnley and Fulham, are decent fixtures, so it's no reason to force him out. But if that team value matters to you, if that points you might be missing out on matters to you, then I'll say quickly make the transfer. So for me, people to target as Ismaila Sarr's replacements are, firstly, I'll go with this fella, Declan Rice, number one target for replacing Ismaila Sarr. And then I do have a list players around Sarr's price tag. I've gone with Declan Rice. I'm gonna go with Enzo Fernandez of Chelsea. Yes, he has not really got that fixture run there, but Chelsea could absolutely dominate in the next 4 games. Talking about Leeds, Bournemouth, Everton, Newcastle. So I would consider him on transfer as a Sarr replacement. Moving on from Enzo, I do like Cherki. A lot of people are like his rotation risk, but guys, I'm happy to risk it with this kind of a player. He played 15 minutes this weekend, returning 4 points with only 15 minutes of playtime, and that's it because I think he will be heavily involved in the midweek game against Fulham. So don't sleep on a player like this. You want to squeeze him in your team. Another replacement for Ismaila Sarr I have got on my list, a name you might not be expecting, Ahmad, because he's around that price value, cheap price value as well. So he's got West Ham, he's got Wolverhampton. The only thing that puts me off Ahmad is the fact that he has more 90 minutes and less points returned. So for a player with 90 minutes and this amount of 90 minutes, I'm not pleased. I would consider another footballer in that category. I do like this guy. I don't know if he's someone to consider. So like that's why I say if you've got Semenyo in your team, do not necessarily force him out. You can still hold on to him, but people seem to be losing patience with him. And of course, he's cost a lot of managers that team value after costing a manager like me my rank, because I never owned Semenyo all season. When I showed you my game week history and you see the 5 or 4 game weeks with the red arrow, that's because I didn't own Semenyo those game weeks and he absolutely smashed it those periods. All right, moving on. So Doku Tavernier, I do fancy this guy. Stepped up to take the penalty 2 game weeks ago, and yeah, he does return points here and there. 11 points against Nottingham Forest in game week 9, 5 points against Crystal Palace, 11 against Wolverhampton. Not the most consistent, but guys, if you have to go around that side and for 5.5 million price value, he's decent for you. So why not go that way? Who else? Ahmad, Doku, Cherki. I like Doku. He's in my team, so I really didn't want to like bring him up as a first 2-3 choice. He's also a choice pick. You can go for him. And then looking at the upside, Ismaila Sarr's replacement, we can absolutely go with people like Bruno Fernandes. That is an absolute replacement for Ismaila Sarr. I think to me, if you've got the team budget, the cash in your bank is number one for Ismaila Sarr's replacement. Then I would absolutely go with Gakpo, the Liverpool midfielder. I think he is a solid Ismaila Sarr replacement. Also looking at the upsides, he's got Sunderland, he's got Leeds, he's got Brighton in the next 3 games. So I think this is a decent hold. Who else am I missing out on? I'll show you my final team selection. If you're on a chip, I could easily activate a bench boost this game week, but I'm not looking to do that. So if you're looking to play a chip, you want to have players from teams like Liverpool, you want to have players from Crystal Palace. I don't think it's a really sweet game week to have a bench boost, in my honest opinion. Even though I indeed fancied playing a bench boost this game week. Is Liverpool against Sunderland. I could go heavily on Liverpool players. I could squeeze in Ahmad, but I've made the decision to bring in Declan Rice. So that means I'm not pushing for a bench boost. But it is a decent game week for a bench boost. I'm going to look at game week 15. Possibly game week 16, but I think game week 15 is the positive week for me to play a bench boost. Liverpool play Leeds away, Man City play Sunderland at home. If I can squeeze in the Man United player, they play Wolverhampton away, and Newcastle play Burnley at home. So guys, like I mentioned, this is not the time in the season to save up your transfers thinking about you want to roll. I think you should play those transfers. There will be 5 transfers available by game week 16. So guys, I want to call it I'll call it a day here. I've talked about my captaincy. He's on Mohamed Salah right now. I'm happy to stick with him, take the risk. I hope he does play, he does start. If he starts, then I do have a chance to get a return. So well, Bruno Fernandes and Mbumo, that's my last pick for Ismaila Sarr's replacement. I forgot to mention. So yeah, just chip that in. So well guys, that's it for me from now. So but keep an ear out for news about ThiaGO's injury. Also we've talked about Ismaila Sarr. Some people don't like Semenyo as a pick. Yeah, you can still replace him, but I wouldn't move on from Semenyo if I was you. So well guys, that's it. Make sure you leave a like, leave a comment, tell me how you want to play this weekend. Are you playing a chip, or are you just happy to roll your transfers, or are you looking to bring in any other kind of player to your team that we should start probably looking at? I believe I've shared enough information in this video. Make sure you leave us a like, engage us in the comment section. I would see you next time. Have a lovely game week ahead, managers, and stay on the side of the green arrow. I always say these words. I've been on the side of the green arrow 4 game weeks. I wish you all the same. Take care.